What's up? Welcome to the AV Club podcast. I don't have a guest this week. It's another solo episode with your favorite podcast host ever, Aaron. AV, as they call me in the streets. Actually, only a couple of people call me that, so. Anyways, I'm kind of annoyed right now. I legit recorded probably about 15 minutes of an episode, and then I realized that my mic wasn't plugged in, and then I listened to the audio, and it was on the computer, and it sounded horrible, so I erased it, and I'm starting over, but no big deal. This episode is brought to you by Whiskey Morning Coffee. Whiskey Morning Coffee. Have you ever woken up deep in the jungle and had a thirst that could not be quenched by anything other than the magical blend of Whiskey Morning Coffee? You have mosquitoes zipping by your head, sticking to your arms and your legs, biting you, sucking the blood. You hear locusts in the background everywhere, so loud, in fact, that you can't hear your own thoughts. You hear the rustling of trees and branches and leaves, the cracking of sticks and twigs on the ground. Who is it? What could that be? Is that a snake? What is it? Who is it? Are they drinking Whiskey Morning Coffee? If they aren't, then something's up, and you better be on high alert. Drink Whiskey Morning Coffee, and you'll have nothing to fear. No worries. Anyways, I've been thinking a lot about the topic of consistency. Just in every aspect of my life. How I'm being consistent, where I'm being consistent, and in what avenues can I be more consistent. And it's one of those topics that you really have to think about, and it's kind of like a hard look in the mirror type thing where you're like, okay, is this a good consistency? Like, am I being consistent in the right things? Am I growing? Am I seeing these improvements that this is supposed to be bringing? Are there negative aspects to it? A lot of questions, And so when I think about it, I'm really drawn to a couple of points primarily. So first being podcast. My goal was to be consistent in this, and that's really one of the only goals I have. It's be consistent and deliver high quality content, right? And so I know I'm being consistent, but the high quality content part is like where I'm lacking. And even in the consistency of the releasing an episode every week, it's like, why am I not, I don't know. I find myself putting myself in these situations where I'm like one step behind instead of one step ahead. Most people probably would have started a podcast by stacking up episodes and doing, like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 episodes, and then releasing those and then continuing to record one a week or one every 2 weeks. Like that's how normally it would go. But for me, I knew that in order to get the ball rolling on this thing, I had to just start. Like I was making too many excuses, and I was like, oh, I really want to do that. It was all talk. It was all smoke, I was blowing smoke up my own butt. And so what I did, I don't know if this is or will work for everybody or just for me, but I had to set myself up for success. And by doing that, by saying that, I mean, what I had to do was schedule one guest. I had to schedule one guest, and I gave myself 1 week. I was like, hey man, can you show up on next Friday? And the guy said, yeah. And I was like, oh, what? Really? You're going to be here? Okay. So then it was on his calendar. He gave me his word. I gave him mine. And so I had to follow through. And then I released that the first week I had it ready. And so I do that. Like, it's almost like self-sabotaging at this point because I could get ahead and that would actually be super helpful. But at the beginning I had to, because I knew that if I didn't, I would never have started that first podcast. But now I'm at the point to where I'm like, okay, I know I want to do this. I know I enjoy this a lot. So much so that I freaking declined a job recently because of it. I had a job opportunity and it was like 40 minutes away, South Austin. And I just couldn't do it. I knew it was going to be a big time commitment to go down there, to drive down there. Like, it's like an hour and a half wasted, not even in traffic. Like, it's just 40 minutes one way just because of how far it is. And I had this gut feeling, man, this gut feeling. And I was like, oh man, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like I should be doing this because I, first of all, haven't given effort in the other career path that I want to do. And second, I know the podcast would suffer from it. So why would I do that? But anyways, consistency is the key. And I need to put more effort into setting myself up for success. So that means like getting ahead of the game now. I'm able to do that. And I need to. It's kind of like a self-sabotage thing at this point, I think. I don't know. Or laziness, but I don't know. Getting better at it, but it's still hard. Like, if I just could schedule 2 guests in 1 week, really, if I had 2 podcasts a week, released 1 a week, that'd be perfect. But, I have to get it. I have to ask until I get 2. And I don't do that most weeks because when I ask one person, I'm like, okay, cool. There's my podcast for the week. And I'm trying to like just keep my head afloat when I should be trying to stay above the water, like on the land. I don't know what the saying is. I don't know. It's dumb. But anyways, consistency is key. And not only in like this stuff, like podcasting or whatever your hobbies are or your passions, but like I've been really hitting the gym hard too. And this isn't like a brag or anything. This is like on the train of consistency. And I'm seeing results, not necessarily faster than I ever have, but greater than I ever have. I'm being super consistent in the fitness world. I'm working out once, sometimes even twice a day. And this, like, again, this isn't a brag. I kind of feel like I shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm like killing myself in the gym, sticking with this workout routine, and I'm finding myself enjoying it more. And I'm also seeing a lot of the benefits already. And so it's just like, it's one of those things. We all probably have those things where we're like, dude, I really enjoy doing this. I really enjoy golfing. Yeah, golfing is so fun. I enjoy it a ton. But you like hardly find yourself out there on the golf course. It's like, why would you, I mean, there's certain situations to where, you can't, maybe it's money or something, but if you like have a passion, like for me, it's podcasting. So like I'm trying to be consistent and do it every week. That's not that hard. All you got to do is set one up, and it feels like a loss to me when I have to do a solo episode, but as long as I'm not looking at the camera, I'm fine. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel sometimes like a loss whenever I don't do an episode with a guest, because that's the whole point of this podcast. But the contrary to that is that I'm getting an episode in, I'm still getting it done, I'm still releasing it like I would if there was a guest on. But anyways, my today was cool. I had a little interview with Daniel, my roommate, my best friend downstairs, with his Unknown podcast series, his Unknown People, and that was really cool. It went pretty long for his platform, but it was really nice. It was kind of cool to be asked the questions, but I really also enjoy asking people questions, and so like I'm cool with either of those, but it was cool to switch it up a little bit. He asked me a couple questions about some items that I had brought, and it was good. It was good. I was really enjoying the items I brought because they're all meaningful to me, and it was just easy to talk to him. I did get a little nervous, but like my daddy used to say. What did he used to say? Oh, he says, act like you've been here before, or act like you own the place. So I was acting like I owned it. It was good. That'll be out next week, and you guys should listen to that on. I think it's the dot unknowns on Instagram, but there's no O's in the unknowns. It's spelled without the O's. But yeah, man. Yeah, it was super interesting. Um, it was weird, but yeah. So what else is going on in life? My parents, my family just moved. I'm from a town called Grand Texas, and we've been in the house. My parents have been in the house since I was like in middle school, and now I'm like an old man. And they finally moved, but they moved to the other side of town, which is like, the nicer side of town, you could say. And huge life change for them. Things are kind of moving. Their course of life is kind of taking all these kind of different turns, which is really awesome for them. I'm super excited because, first of all, they deserve it. The house is way nicer than the other one, and it's just really cool to see. Like, my big thing is I try to inspire people to do what they love, do what they want to do, and experience it and try it. And if you don't like it or it doesn't work out, then keep going. Just try something else. Do the next thing. And that's just not the generation my parents grew up in. And so to see them get this new house, to see my dad take these career changes, his career moves, is so freaking cool because I know it's like probably something they've been wanting to do for a while, but just the way they were raised and the way they grew up, it's kind of like you always take the safe route. You always say, well, no, this house is fine. We're fine in this house. We'll make it work. And with work, it's like, oh, this is a good job. It's paying well, and I'm used to it, and it's a safe kind of net for me. And so I'm going to stick here for a little bit longer. And it's just really cool to see them step out of those comfort zones and those familiar situations into some new territory, because that's what I would love for them to do. It's amazing. So here's a little short story, but whenever I graduated college, 2015, Texas Tech, Reckham baby, I had an opportunity to work with Daniel. Like, Daniel called me up. He had this job already. And like 2 weeks in, he was like, bro, they need another photographer to help out around here. Are you down? What are your thoughts? So like, he told me a little more about the situation. And I want to say the next day I drove down to Marble Falls. I had lunch with the bosses. I was there for a full day, saw kind of what they did, just really observed. And then I went home, and they had offered me the job like while I was there. And so I was like, okay, let me think about it. Give me the weekend. I think it was on a Friday. I went down there, and I think my birthday was on that Saturday. So I went home, celebrated my birthday. And then I was asking my parents, I was like, what do you guys think? I asked my brother, what do you guys think? I asked my, family, and they were just like, I don't know, man, photos. It's not like they were being negative. They were just like really being protective and wanting me to take the route that was maybe made more sense or maybe a little bit more safe, which, there's nothing wrong with that in certain situations. But they're like, I don't know, what do you mean you can't take photos? What do you mean you're not going to get benefits? There's not going to get health insurance or anything like that? And I was like, no, man, but it's like, I can pretty much do what I want. Like, I get the freedom to drive on my own, not have to be like in a certain space or in an office or in a cubicle. And I get to use my camera, my new camera. I love this camera, Actually, I didn't have my camera at the time, but I get to use a camera, which is like a passion of mine. I love using cameras. And they're like, I don't know, man. And then I remember I asked my uncle, and he said, yeah, of course do it. Why wouldn't you? And he said, what's the worst thing that can happen? You don't like the job and you come back? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? And that really will stick with me for the rest of my life, first of all, because my uncle, you could tell like he's probably had some regrets. Like I said, the era they grew up in, the generation, They weren't the kind of people that were just like, you know what, I'm going to go to high school and then I'm going to go to college and then I'm going to go do this. It was like you right out of high school, if you even finished, you go work. You just start working and make money. You're the provider in the house. If you're a man, if you're a woman, you probably are just doing some sort of cleaning or watching the kids in the house, or that's the generation they grew up in. So when it came to photography, they're all like, "What?" Except for my uncle, and he was like, "Dude, go do that. That's awesome." And stuck with me. And so now that they're at this point where they're like, you know what? That's true. My dad was at this company for 20 years. Like, imagine, I'm 24 years old. I couldn't imagine being in the same spot for 20 years. Not even location wise, but job wise, doing very similar things. If not every day, like you're repeating it every year, like in his certain position, like is electrician. So you're doing the same stuff really every year. It's like the same cycle. Obviously every day is slightly different because of different jobs or whatever, but you're basically doing the same thing every single day, every single year. Like at Christmas time, you're putting up Christmas lights. When the new year rolls around, you're taking down the Christmas lights, and then you're putting up Easter stuff, and then you're taking down Easter stuff. It's like the same thing every day for 20 years. And it's like, Dad, I get why you don't want to work there anymore. And like, it's not that you don't want to work there. It's just that you're tired of it. You're ready to move on. And just seeing that, him take that step, a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of deep meditation on the subject really came down to one conclusion, and he pulled the trigger, and it was freaking awesome. So like stuff like that is motivating to me, and that makes me want to work harder, because knowing my dad is like, all right, I'm taking this risk. I'm going to try this new thing. It makes me want to go harder in this situation I'm in so that I can help him however he needs it. If he needs it, he probably doesn't need it. He's pretty good at taking care of himself and other people, but yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. But I don't even remember what I was talking about. I just get lost in this stuff and just start talking about random stuff. Let's see. Let's see if I can think of something real quick. Let's see. I'm trying to get into this. Trying to build new habits, good habits, right? I have a lot of bad habits right now, like spending time on my phone when I don't really need to. I think a lot of us have that habit, and depending on what you do or like what your goals are, it could be good, it could be bad, right? Like if you don't have any goals, like if your goals are get a promotion at work, and you don't really have to do anything at home when you get off of work to do that, then, by all means be on your phone. But a lot of my days involve grinding outside of my part-time job. And when I say grinding, it's not like, manual labor or anything like that, but it's okay. In the mornings, I got to get up, get my workout in so that I have a few hours before work to try to get video leads to try to make money so that I don't have to have this freaking part-time job anymore and I can just do video stuff, right? That's half of my brain. Then the other half is like, okay, I have to do podcast stuff. I need to edit. I need to record. I need to book a guest. I need to solidify dates, times. And then I have to make sure that my roommates know that I have priorities. I have a guest coming. I have this and that. I got to make sure the house is cleaned. And it's a lot. So the habits that I have right now are not the best for efficiency in those goals that I have. And it's hard to unlearn habits. It's so hard. It's like you get up, first thing you do is check your phone every morning. It's going to take you a while to not do that. When you do that every single day, sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes looking at my phone helps me wake up, but it's not necessary. Like, it's not always necessary. Stuff like that. Like if I could paint you my ideal day, this is what it would be. It would be wake up early. When I say early, around 6:30. Early to some, I guess. And then make a cup of coffee. Maybe read a little bit in that time. Hour. And then start working out around 7 to 7:30, depending on, how my morning is going. If I wake up right on time and start immediately or what. But anyways, work out right around 7-ish. Work out for an hour, shower, eat or fast, depending on what I'm feeling on that day. After that, then I'm in the office. Then I'm at this desk. This is also my desk where I do other work besides podcasting. I'm such a podcaster. But anyways, this is where I do most of my stuff. And after I do all that stuff, I would love to sit down, make calls, make emails, send texts, send DMs, try to get video clients. And then a goal would be one a week at least, like one a week landed and asking however many times necessary until I get that. And then eat lunch around 11:30 or 12 and then leave to work at 12:30. Go to work, get there by 1, stay till 6, come back home, and then podcast stuff, Sometimes I'll do another workout depending on what I did in the morning, or if I just ran, or if I just worked out, just lifted, whatever. And then just be productive. I have this thing in my brain where it's like, I do it all the time and I do it to myself. But if I'm not doing something productive or like that feels productive, I'm like anxious. I'm like, what am I like? I can't just sit here and watch this. I don't watch Netflix. I don't really ever watch TV. I don't watch movies that often unless it's like at the theater. It's this weird tick about me. And I honestly think that stems from watching my dad. Like my dad is never just sitting at home watching TV or sitting on his phone. It's rare when you see him doing that, and when he does it, it's because he needs a break. He's tired, but he's always doing yard work. He's doing something to clean. He's doing something to earn money. He's doing something to keep busy, keep his mind working, keep his body moving, keep his body strong. It's wild. I just have this weird tick about me, but it's crazy, man. Just habits. I need to build these habits that like go to bed early. It's already 10:45. I would love to be in bed by 11. Doubt that's going to happen. I'd love to wake up by 6. Who knows if that will happen? I'm not going to count myself out yet, but who knows? Life is just cool, man. Honestly, I really don't like doing these podcasts, and hopefully somebody will get to the end of this and maybe take something away from it, but I'm starting to like these solo ones. And obviously I like the guest ones way better, but kind of lets me talk. I have a little bit to say sometimes. Kind of lets me just get that out on something. Somebody can listen to this, and I don't know. It's interesting though. I'm excited to see where this journey takes me, and life is just ups and downs, but you got to just keep pushing through. Be consistent in pushing through in life, That's a solid piece of advice. Yeah. So hopefully I don't have another solo episode for a while. If I had to do one once a month, I wouldn't be mad at that. I'll get more creative with it. This was just kind of me feeling it because I'm already late. The rest of my week is booked with stuff, which is a good thing, but I got to prioritize this better. And I'm super pumped to get the new gear because I think I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but I'm upgrading my audio because I want to improve however I can. And I feel like I've maxed out the potential of this, this huge desk setup isn't horrible. I don't necessarily like the computer in the shot. It's not bad. It looks more like a YouTube type thing. But when I have a guest, it's almost like blocking our vision and blocking our view. And I have to monitor it. Sometimes how computers glitch out sometimes. That rarely happens, but there's been a few times where the audio is kind of shut off. And this new setup I'm getting is going to be like a one-stop shop where I can just plug in mics to it and not have to worry about this until I edit. And it'll be beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, it's awesome. But that's my heart. That's my life. That's my brain. And I appreciate whoever listened. I appreciate whoever doesn't listen. It's all the same. Doesn't matter. But thank you if you listened. If you got this far and you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube. I'm not good at self-promotion, so I got to get better. Subscribe to my YouTube at the AV Club. Follow me on Instagram. I really am going to make shirts soon, I promise. I say that a lot, but I don't know how to do it. It's like there's a lot of moving parts. I think I'm going to make it myself, like press it myself. So that's kind of cool, but I got to figure out what looks cool, what would be good for girls and guys to wear. And I'm very particular. I don't want it to be crappy, so we'll see. We'll see when it happens, hopefully soon. But this has been another episode of the AV Club podcast. Thanks for joining the club. And goodbye. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. See you later. Peace.